Good evening, kindred. I am Teranz, and welcome back to more Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. Last time we helped Sophie with a reporter. Tried to find my stalker, and then had a visit from the sheriff telling me that an old, that my ex is trying to find me. So I have to go talk to her and deal with that. As I knock things over. Okay. But I've decided that I want to continue with Tamika's quest. Immediately after you enter the park, you can tell that something is wrong. An odd silence hangs in the air, like the silence from a choking victim after the fight leaves them. It doesn't take you long to find Tamika. You see her in the distance, leaning against a tree. As you make your way towards her, she puts her fingers to her lips. Only then do you notice the blood dripping from her side. You pick her up, letting her lean on you. She looks at you, her eyes wild with fear and rage. They're here. The Inquisition. They found us. Burl, he drew them away, saved my ass. He's still out there. We need to go. We need to help him. You sure you're up for it? Looks like they banged you up pretty bad. A twang of pain takes her breath away. Fine. You're barely standing. I won't let you get yourself killed. I'm going. You want to stop me? Might as well kill me now. Through sheer force of will, she manages to straighten herself up. Let's fucking do this. You head deeper in the park. Soon, you stumble upon a set of innocuous barriers, service vehicles, black and yellow caution tape, men in work suits that keep civilians out of certain areas. It's not all that difficult for a creature of the night to avoid these. You almost think their presence here is accidental. But once you spot black vans deeper in, you get a foreboding feeling. Tamika grabs your shoulder and squeezes hard. Hold up. There. You have to squint to see it. 2 SI scouts have taken tactical positions between the trees. There's no way in hell you'd have noticed them, or hid from them in time if Tamika hadn't alerted. Body armor, camo, night vision goggles, rifles, and semi-automatic shotguns. Some equipment you can't even name. These guys mean business. There's no time. Just getting ready to pounce on them, consequences be damned. You need to think, and fast. Gonna risk it. Focusing your efforts, you head to the nearest opponent, letting Tamika take care of the other one. Your target falls before he's able to pull the trigger. A faint gurgle lets you know Tamika has done her part as well. You look over and see her standing over the rapidly cooling corpse of the soul. She flicks her wrists, sprinkling the grass under her feet with the man's blood. It's a tie. All things considered, she seems to be doing all right. You keep on moving. Tamika gestures at the nearest patch of trees. Stick to the shadows. Take them one at a time. Sound advice. You take it to heart as you move on towards Tamika's haven. It doesn't take long for you to run across more of them. 3 operatives in full riot gear running down a park alley, sweeping the area with barrel-mounted flashlights. Keeping very still and very quiet, you wait for them to approach. Tamika watches you from the bushes nearby, clearly waiting to follow your lead. I will try to take 2 of them. The first victim marches past. You lunge at him, sinking your teeth in his neck. In one sudden motion, you rip a chunk of flesh from his throat. Quickly, before the other 2 can react, you run at them full speed. As you're about to take the first one out, Tamika pounces from the side, taking him out in an instant. As soon as she lands, she springs back towards the other one. A single slash of her claws is all it takes. The man's body falls to the ground. After a second or two, his head follows. You raise an eyebrow at Tamika. She hits back with a roguish grin. 2-1. No time to savor your victory. A savage yell rings out from across the tree line. You know that voice, Raoul. Tamika throws herself towards where it came from. It's almost unbelievable how fast she's moving, considering the state she's in. You're barely able to keep up. Mere seconds later, you find yourself under the cover of a rose bush, giving you a clear view of a nearby clearing. Off in the distance, you spot a group of gunmen converging. Slowly but surely, the circle of hunters closes in on a lone figure struggling on the ground. The figure lets out a pained roar. Looking close, you realize it's Raoul, caught in the same steel net you saw used against the Scar. He struggles frantically, trying to break free. With each passing second, step by step, operatives close in around him. Driven by instinct, Tamika jerks forward to save her brother. She stops herself at the last moment, as if reminded of your presence. Okay, how do we do this? We go in fast and fierce. No messing around. Take him out as quickly as you can. She nods in approval. Sounds good. You move in like a two-person SWAT team, staying low to the ground before you finally make your move. The first two hunters meet their death. Unfortunately, it's enough for the others to notice your presence. So much for the element of surprise. As two men turn towards you with their fingers already on the trigger, the other two approach you, stabbing at the air with their cattle prods. Going for the low-hanging fruit, you engage with the caliprod-wielding hunters. With some effort, you manage to avoid getting shocked, and within seconds, both of your opponents lie dead on the grass. Meanwhile, Tamika does her share, as she swiftly avoids the gunfire and moves in for the kill. 4 bodies hit the ground. 2 vampires are still standing. You both turn towards the last remaining foe, driven by sheer desperation. The sole surviving soldier stands over Raoul and aims his semi-automatic shotgun at his head. Tamika growls. You gesture at her to stand down. There's no room for mistakes here. Faint whisper escapes your lips and makes its way into Tamika's ear. On my mark, be ready. With shaking hands, the gunman looks at you, then Tamika, as if warning you not to come any closer. It's mostly for show. He's fucked and he knows it. You bide your time, waiting for the right moment to signal Tamika. Finally, you see an opening, a split second of hesitation. Before you can make your move, Raoul springs up, grabbing the man's gun. As they struggle, you and Tamika lunge towards the gunman. A shot rings out. Raoul's body collapses under the weight of the steel net, his head a gaping hole. The operative looks at you, startled and confused, his eyes wide, seeing Tamika fly towards him, death incarnate. The man's screams echo across the park. She doesn't stop, not when his intestines are spread on the grass, not when his eyes turn to bloody holes, not when his face turns to mush. Only when the screaming stops, only when it's certain he has met his cruel end, only then does she stop. You watch in silence as she walks over to what's left of her brother. Falling to her knees, Tamika lets out a yell unlike any you've ever heard. It's as if she's been possessed by some wailing spirit, banshee screaming out into the sky. Screams echo across the clearing until finally it all goes quiet. With tears streaming down her face, she looks up at you. It's my fault. I put us in their sights. If it wasn't for me, he'd still... Clenching her fist, she pounds the ground in frustration. Fuck. Come on, we need to get out of here. This isn't over yet. More will be coming. She gets up. A violent shiver runs through her entire body, as if she's literally trying to shrug off her despair. When she looks at you again, she seems far more clear-headed. Right, let's get out of here. Hastily yet carefully, you make your way out of the park. Don't stop until you reach a nearby alleyway. There in the relative safety of the surrounding darkness, you take a moment to rest. Leaning against the wall, Tamika presses her hand onto her wound. Fighting off the pain, she looks up at you. Let's split up. Less attention. Hunters, spotters, on the rooftops. Bad idea. What if you run into an SI patrol? She smiles through bloody teeth. Too bad for them. Knowing when it's time to fold, you nod and head towards the far end of the alley. After several steps, you look back to see how Tamika's doing. You smile, noting her absence. Having managed to pass a couple blocks without incident, thank your lucky stars and blend into the nightly New York crowd. Hopefully, Tamika's made it as well. Alright, time to rest. Knock, knock. You'd ask who's there, but you don't know if the sheriff of New York City would play along. When you open the door, you see him toying with the car keys he's holding in his hands. Ready to go, fledgling? You don't feel like it, but give him a nod nevertheless. Excellent. Stay close. He leads you down to the vehicle he's parked nearby. Once again, he takes the wheel, literally and figuratively. Everything inside is just the way you remember it, down to the rearview mirror reflecting the intense stare of your guide. However, the trip itself feels notably different. Last time Kadir drove you around, he was forcibly dragging you away from your old life. This time, he's pulling you back into it. All the things you wanted to say to Jessica keep running through your head. Let me tell you how it's going to go. As I've said, I've arranged a meeting between you and your kin. It's going to take place somewhere you should know very well. I'll watch over you two from a safe distance. Make sure you adhere to the rules. You should know those very well. But I'll reiterate, just so you can't ever say I didn't warn you. Don't do anything that would violate the Masquerade. Don't establish some secret routes of contact I will know. Do treat this as the last time you two will meet up. Take this chance to wrap everything up. Here's your story. You found yourselves at a crossroad. Decided to radically change your life and move out of the city. The subway is unbearable, the rent's too high, they've heard it all. You're ready to leave New York for good when you heard those absurd rumors about taking your own life. So you've decided to set the record straight. He gives you a knowing look and close the curtain on your relationship once and for all on your terms. The car makes a sudden turn. I'll leave the finer details to you. Just be so kind and don't make me regret this. You can sense he's going out of his way for you. Doesn't try to force you into gratitude by stating it plainly. If you know, you know. He'll see if you're worthy of his aid. We're here. You take a look around and recognize your destination. He was right. It's a familiar place. It's that club, one you met your future sire in while trying to forget about Jess. This is where they last saw poor Teranz. Who knows whatever might have happened to him. One Jessica Lowell is trying to find out. She got a tip from an anonymous source saying that you might make an appearance here tonight. You wouldn't want to disappoint the lady, would you? She's apparently quite distraught. He turns off the engine and relaxes comfortably in his seat. You silently leave the car and head straight for the club. Yep, looks like he shut the car down. Anyway, the last time you were headed this way, you still had a pulse. Feels almost nostalgic. There's a party getting started and some rookie DJ is trying to read the crowd. You begin to look for Jess. You wonder what the first thing you say to her should be. Yeah, that should work. The music is pulsing and there are good vibes in the air. You spot a girl hurrying to the bathroom with a nosebleed. The smell is faint, but it gets you in the mood to have some fun. However, Kadir's indicated that he's got a pair of eyes around here somewhere. Better stick to the plan. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Alright. A stupid idea pops into your head. If you meet her and she says, "I want to be with you again," what would you do? What's done is done. Best not to dwell on it. By now it feels like you've explored all the places Jess could have been. It's getting frustrating. You grab the cheapest drinks they have from the bar. A tall, blonde girl in a stylish skirt smiles at you from behind heart-shaped glasses. Smile back, but this is no time for the heart to guide the hand. You walk past her back to your duty. You mimic having a sip of your drink. God, you could have been having so much fun tonight. You could accidentally stumble into Jessica when you least expect it. She looks at you as if she's seen a ghost. You freeze up, trying to come with something to say and fail. The last few years of your life flash before your eyes. Wait, what was the line you decided to open the conversation with? Before you remember, a powerful slap takes you out of your stupor. "You stupid motherfucker." Guess she gets the first line. Realize you spilled your drink all over your clothes. "I've been so worried. I've been so fucking worried. Called everyone I knew to look for you, and you're having fun clubbing? You thought it would be funny to drop all contact with everyone? Pretend something happened to you? What, you wanted to see my reaction?" She slaps you once again. You let some sort of disassociation set in and just watch the situation as it unfolds. "I'll let everybody know you're okay, but don't you ever show yourself in front of me again." She turns her back on you and disappears into the crowd, walking towards the exit. You look around. You notice the heart-shaped glasses girl chuckling in the distance. You're no longer in the mood to party. Guess you'll follow Jessica's lead and leave. Try to not keep the sheriff waiting. Well, at the very least you can say this. She still cares. That's nice. Back to Kadir's car. Once you close the door, he instantly puts his foot on the gas pedal. Walking off the pitch with no regrets, said everything you had to say. Speak up without thinking. Yeah, she said she'll call off the search. Getting her to accept that was over took some harsh words, but deep down, I think she knew it was time to say farewell once and for all. She's a little shaken up, but she'll live. You spot a playful spark in Kadir's eyes. Took care of it like a man, did you? Very good. The people we knew in life have this tendency to briefly reappear in our unlives. One night, let's say 20 years from now, she might spot you on the streets. You won't have aged a day from now, and even though she'll tell herself that it can't be you, she'll be jealous. And if you look happy, she'll feel regret over what could have been. So for the sake of the night your paths cross once again, I hope you'll search for your own happiness. The car speeds up to cross an intersection before the light turns red. You give Kadir a good hard look. thanks. Doesn't feel like how you call it, very vampire thing to say. But you say it nevertheless. He's visibly taken aback, and his usually furrowed brow smooths out for a moment. Then he takes on a seriously slightly sorrowful expression. Don't suck up to me, kid. Mr. Bad Guy is still here, and without a doubt he will go back to decapitating suckers like you any time now. The car starts slowing down. We're here. You look out the window and see your haven. Take care. I'll see you around. Just pray I don't have to see you too often. You leave the car and start walking to your haven, thinking about Kadir. Can't say you're fond of him, what with the welcome he gave you and all, but after tonight, you can't say you aren't either. You're gonna need some more time to understand him, that's for sure. Guess we'll go deal with the reporter some more. The weather is cold and windy as you walk to Sophie's apartment. As a vampire, that doesn't matter anymore. You may have been saddled with eternal hunger, but at least you can ignore the wind chill. Just as you come out of the door of Sophie's building, she storms out. Just as you come to the door of Sophie's building, she storms out, murmuring into her phone. Yes, I know. Don't worry. I trust you to handle it. You've heard Sophie talk to her associates before. It's always the same generalities and vague suggestions. It makes you think she's involved in mysterious machinations. Yet doesn't tell you anything. Sophie is dressed to kill. But there's nothing unusual about that. She likes to make an impression. A black car with tinted windows is waiting for her in front of the door. The chauffeur steps out to open the car door for her. Sophie notices you. I'm glad you're in the neighborhood. If you could look around one more time, that would be wonderful. You told me you got rid of that reporter. Turns out he's still here, snooping around. Sophie's very good at communicating disappointment. She doesn't have to do much to make it clear that she's unhappy to have... Let me try that again. She doesn't have to do much to make it clear that she's unhappy to have to return to this issue. I'll take care of it. After the night, he won't trouble you anymore. Good. Don't disappoint me. The reporter talked his way into the building during the day. Once the doorman understood what was happening, he threw the reporter out. Showed old pictures of me to my neighbors. It's very awkward. You understand. Sophie disappears into the car, and the chauffeur closes the door behind her. Watch as the sleek vehicle disappears into the Manhattan traffic. Just one anonymous car among many. Best sit down somewhere and devise a plan of action. You go to a nearby diner, settle into a booth, and order a coffee from the steely-eyed Latino waitress. As she brings you your cup, you describe Frank Doherty to her on the off chance she's seen something. Just as she's about to answer, you happen to look outside. Something catches your eye. Dinner is brightly lit, so you lean closer to the window to see the street through. You got lucky. Frank is standing on the sidewalk on the other side of the street, looking at something on his phone. You slide out of the booth, throwing a few small bills onto the table. Mumbling something to the waitress, you step outside. For a reporter, Frank isn't terribly observant. Keep your distance, hiding behind people and cars, but he doesn't look around. Seems like he wants to find a private nook to inspect the photos he took tonight. Nally, he ducks in, and you follow. Oh my god, it's you. Please don't hurt me. Frank cradles his new camera in his arms. He's terrified of what you will do. You came back. That was a mistake. Let's talk a little so we can figure out what kind of mistake it was. Please, I'll talk. Just tell me what you want. How come you're here? I thought we agreed there's no story. Usually when someone says there's no story, that means there's a story. I just couldn't let it go. Look, I don't want trouble. I can see that you're serious. There's something to Sophie Langley. I think you know what it is. You take a long, hard look at Frank Doherty. He's a tenacious man, but not brave. After the last time you met, you were sure he'd have been dealt with. Where do you find the courage to come here again? I like Frank. You don't give up. What's your real angle here? Everybody plays an angle. That's one of the things you learn in my profession. You're smart. You know that there will be others after me. If there's a real story, they'll come and find it. Your best shot is with a friendly reporter, someone you can trust, someone like me. What do you say? Get ahead of the story. It'll be good for you and Miss Langley too. You almost believe it, but something about Frank feels off. Don't say anything at first. It's easy to dismiss Frank as a joke, a has-been, but there's something beneath his talk. Another story. A moment of silence is all you need for your presence to properly register in Frank's mind. He's too weak-willed to resist. Someone's leaning on you, Frank. Come clean. What? No, absolutely not. Frank's voice sounds shrill. You know you got it right in one guess. Sometimes I just need some extra money, that's all. Where does this extra money come from? There's a guy, he's paying me, that's all, but I can't talk about that. Tell you what, Frank, I'll make this easy for you. Work for me and I'll make your life easier. I want to know who's after Sophie Langley, and you can get me that information. Who knows, maybe this will become a lasting and lucrative relationship. Frank is taken aback by your suggestion. Still, he clearly needs a friend. I don't know. I mean, if there are people leaning on me, they won't take too kindly to it if I help someone else. I know how valuable you are, Frank. Some days I get nothing but disrespect. I wouldn't mind a change to all that. Tell you what. Next time something comes up, I'll give you a call. Maybe I'll have something you can do for me as well. Quid pro quo. What else is there? I am a pro. Frank hesitates for a second as if he's going to say something more. He takes one last look at you, turns and leaves the alley, disappearing into the crowd. You're left wondering that if you left... Man, words are hard sometimes. You're left wondering whether that was a good choice. Frank is not reliable, that much is clear. But perhaps you can benefit from him anyway. Isn't that what kindred do? Play people and turn them into puppets? Alright, I need to rest, which means this is a good place to call the episode. At this point, you know the drill, so I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time with more Coteries of New York. Which, that sounded weird rolling off my tongue. Anyway, goodbye.